Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting out war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to check out Arena of Shades, and in particular all the brand new Warscrolls for the Daughters of Khaine and the Nighthaunt that appear in the box set. Arena of Shades is now up for pre-order if you wish to go grab some new Nighthaunt or Daughters of Khaine. All the Warscrolls have some nice little changes across them. We're going to go through all of that today, talk about the two factions in here, and have a jolly good time. If you're thinking of picking up Nighthaunt or you're thinking of picking up Daughters of Khaine, let us know which one you're looking forward to picking up and grabbing a half off in Arena of Shades. Or indeed, if you're going to grab the box and go for both armies, let us know down in the comments below. But let's get cracking on to these Warscrolls, and we'll kick off with the Daughters of Khaine. And so we start with the High Gladiatrix. Now, she is the new Daughters of Khaine hero available in the box set. First of all, she's just 100 points. She's going to move into 6 wounds, which is pretty nice for a Daughters of Khaine hero. Most of the foot troops do not have 6 wounds. A save of 5+, and bravery 8. She has 4 attacks at a 3-inch range in combat with 3s to hit and wound, range 1, damage 1, and 2 attacks at 1-inch range, 3s to hit and wound, range 1, damage 1 again. This is pretty cool. Like, the extra range here is really good because she's both eligible to fight when she's within 6-inch and can pile in an extra 3-inch, allowing her effectively to get 6-inch on everything she needs for combat. This allows her to sit at the back and attack last after all your opponent's units have gone and bring herself into the fight, and also stay out of harm's way. With that 3-inch range, she can do some cool things. This plays into the fact that she's got a cool ability where at the end of the combat phase she can pick an enemy hero within 1 inch of her and roll a d3. If the total number of wounds plus the d3 is equal to or greater than the wounds characteristic of the chosen hero, that hero is automatically slain, as she sort of just rips her whip around them and chokes them to death or whatever. We've also got a cool rule where barbed whips and sacrificial knives used by witch elves and sisters of slaughter wholly within 12 inch of this model have a wound characteristic of 3+ rather than 4+, and a rend of -1 rather than dash. This is where she gets really cool for 100 points, turning those units really into something powerful, especially if we've still got things like anything like Mind Racer that we've currently got in the Daughters of Khaine in this, so we can really turn those units on. This is a fantastic little support hero, I think, for the army, with some cool utility to potentially remove any pesky little heroes, or even, you know, decent wounded heroes next to her. This could be really cool. And so, Sisters of Slaughter. Now, we only have the rules for the Sisters of Slaughter in the box set. We don't have the rules for Witch Elves as well, which is a little bit annoying, but we can assume some of the rules. So, Sisters of Slaughter, we get 10 for 135 points. They are movement 6 with 1 wound, a 6-up save, and bravery 7. This is okay. Saves of 6-up, remembering the Daughters of Khaine do get a 6-up ward save. At current, this is what they get. And then attacks-wise, we've got barbed whips, which will have 2 attacks at a range of 2-inch, 3s to hit and wound on 4s with no rend and damage of 1. Remembering, looking at our previous one though, we can make that to be 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1, which is starting to look pretty nice. Sacrificial knives as well are the second weapon we get with these models, and that'll have an extra attack at a range of 1, and then the same statistics as above, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, damage 1, obviously being able to take the same buff because sacrificial knives get that buff as well. Now, the command group champions will generate an extra attack. Standard bearers allow the unit to reroll battle shock test, and hornblowers give the unit run and charge. We then also have the ability to swap out the sacrificial knives to the 1 attack weapon to take bladed bucklers, which add 1 to the unit's save characteristic, which is nice. It adds it to the characteristic, not a +1 save. So this means we go to a 5-up, meaning we can have 4-ups on the unit. And they do mortal wounds back to the enemy whenever you roll a successful, or just a 6 to save. Doesn't have to be a success. If they've got Rend 2, you still roll all your dice and do mortal wounds back on 6s anyway. And in addition, this unit can pile and fight in within 6-inch in the combat phase. Really, really useful ability here. This is just a solid all-round unit. I really do like the combination of this unit and the abilities. I do think just trying to get the most attacks out of them is definitely the way. When you start having like 3 attacks each model, all rend 1, damage 1, and potentially extra damage in there with spells and other buffs we're going to be able to take with the army, this unit looks really, really strong. And then we have the Heartrenders, the Canary Heartrenders, and like the Sisters of Slaughter, we don't get the Life Takers Warscroll in the box, but we do get the Heartrenders. Now, the Heartrenders are the ranged variation of the two. We get 5 for 95 points. We have a movement of 14, which is really, really fast. Weapon skill of 1, wound of 1, save characteristic of a 5+, and bravery 7. They've got a 1-shot at range, 12-inch, hitting and wounding on 3s with a rend of 1, damage of 1. This changes to a single attack in combat, hitting and wounding on 4s with the rest of the stats all the same. Obviously a 1-inch range in combat instead. The champion will add 1 to its melee attacks, which is a little bit disappointing. You would hope that like maybe you get +1 to hit or an extra shooting attack, not a melee attack with this unit. But the unit can fly, so 14-inch move, and fly is just incredibly fast for the tabletop. They'll also be able to start off the table and come from deep strike or from reserves and be 9 inch away from enemy units. And any turn in which they do so, all their barbed javelin attacks will get an extra point of rend on their attacks, which is really nice because barbed javelins are both their close combat and their ranged attacks. So you'll be rend 2 on the turn you come down. Still only damage 1, putting out, you know, an average of like probably 3 damage a turn. They are a little bit lackluster, I think, but they do have a lot of maneuverability sort of built-in rules. The unit can run and shoot, and after they shoot as well, they can make a normal move up to 6-inch. So realistically, we're looking at another 12-inch on that movement of 14. We're looking at about 26 inches of flying movement ability across the table. This is really, really useful, I think. Just a really fast unit that can also, like we said, come down from reserve and then use all this movement. It's really solid. And the last unit we see for the Daughters of Khaine are the Doomfire Warlocks, and this is a really interesting unit. So we get 5 models for 140 points. They have a movement of 14, 2 wounds apiece, a 5-up save, and bravery 6. Now, pretty low bravery for a Daughters of Khaine unit. 14-inch movement on a cavalry model is nice. 2 wounds apiece and 5-up save. Pretty standard sort of light cav stats in the game. They do have their Darkfire crossbows, which have a range of 12-inch, 2 attacks, hitting on 4s and wounding on 3s with no rend and a damage of 1. Is a nice little bit of shooting. That's going to be, 10 shots coming out the unit at range. It's a couple of wounds here and there. They then got 2 Cursed Scimitar attacks in combat, hitting on 4s and wounding on 3s with a rend of -1 and damage of 1. And they also put in 2 attacks, hitting and wounding on 4s with no rend and damage 1 from their mounts as well. The champion will also add 1 to its melee attacks. Now, this is okay sort of stuff. Especially when you look at some of the buffs Daughters of Khaine get. I really do think Doomfire Warlocks are heavily underappreciated at the moment. Mind Razor on a unit of 10 of them at the moment is a really, really decent combo. The unit is also a wizard though, and this is where I really love them. Doomfire has a casting value of 6 and a range of 12. If the caster has fewer than 5 models in the unit, they do D3. They do D6 models from 5 to 9 models in the unit, and if you manage to get your 10 model unit up and into your opponent's face, you're going to do 6 mortals. Add that into the rest of the damage they can do, and they can provide a decent amount of firepower for your army. You then get to add 1 to this unit's casting and unbinding rolls if it has 5 more models in the unit, which is nice, meaning that, you're going to be getting a 5 for that Doomfire spell. They're a solid unit. Like, I really rate Doomfire Warlocks. I think they're massively underappreciated and not used enough in Daughters of Khaine. It's a big problem. When you've got so many good units in your army, some good units are just going to go under the radar. And so, moving on to the Nighthaunt, we have the Scriptor Mortis. 150 points will get you movement 6, 6 wounds, a 4-up save, and bravery 10. Now, you also get the Malicious Quill. In combat, it has 3 attacks, 1-inch range, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s with a rend of 1 and damage of 2 in melee. It's not too terrible for, a support hero to be able to do that sort of damage. That's pretty nice. It does fly and it's ethereal, meaning it can never get negative or positive modifiers on a save. Like all Nighthaunt, these are just rules you're just going to see appear every single kit we talk about. It does have this really convoluted Judge Soul ability that is going to work sometimes, and most of the time it's probably not going to work. So in one of your hero phases, you effectively pick some unit to be the Judge Soul that your Scriptor Mortis decides to write down, and then at the start of each subsequent hero phase, you then make a judgment roll. You also make a judgment roll if the battle would end as well, so you get one last shot at this. To make a judgment roll, you roll a dice. If the roll is less than the number of the current battle round, the Judge Soul suffers 2d6 mortals. A unit cannot be picked to be Judge Soul more than once in the same battle. So you have to kill it with those 2d6 or it can't be judged again, otherwise it's, fine. The Witchlight Candle is another cool ability it gets, which does make it a little bit more survivable. We can allocate a wound every phase. Wound or mortal wound every phase to a model in a nearby friendly summonable unit, which is pretty cool. Nighthaunt summonable unit at that. And then we have the other new unit inside the box set, the Craven Throne Guard. For the 95 points, you are going to get 5 of these models in a unit, which is pretty cool. you know, that's pretty cheap for a shooting unit, especially for an army that doesn't have an awful lot of shooting in it to begin with. So 95 points for 5, I think, is fairly fair. Now, we are going to get a movement of 8, 1 wound, 5 up save, bravery 10, all pretty stock standard stuff there. The Soul Hunter crossbows, which are the ranged weapons, have a 12-inch range, 2 attacks, hitting and wounding on 4s with rend -1 and damage 1. They're not going to be the most powerful shooting unit in the game, but they do have some cool rules. They have 1 attack in melee, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s with no rend and 1 damage. And the champion will add 1 to its melee attacks. I really don't get this. Why are we adding 1 to melee attacks for shooting units? This doesn't make any sense. Standard bearers, though, for this unit do allow you to rally the models on a 5+, which is always nice. A shooting unit being able to rally on 5 up is definitely solid. The unit shouldn't be in combat. Fly and ethereal, they're standard stuff for Nighthaunt. We've talked about that already. And then this unit doesn't need line of sight to shoot. However, it's not going to do mortal wounds. This isn't Sentinels. They're not elves, so they don't get all those cool rules. All those cool on one side, not so cool on the other side of the fence. And any enemy units that get shot by this unit can't apply modifiers to their save rolls from cover. You know, it also ties in to make sense that shooting like ghost bolts at you, you can't get cover against them. It's an okay unit. I think for 95 points, they're interesting. They're probably going to clear out chaff, be really useful at that sort of job. They're definitely not going to be a shooting unit that's going to be like a main part of your battle strategy or anything, which is good. This is how I like shooting in the game. They're an interesting unit. It'd be interesting if they can go battle line, maybe when you take like Curtis Valentian as your leader, maybe he'll unlock them as battle line so you can take units of 15. There could be some really interesting things, I think, for this unit, depending on the right sort of buffs throughout the army. Moving on to the second hero we get in the Nighthaunt half, and it is the Spirit Torment. We get a movement of 8, 5 wounds, a save of 4 up, and bravery 10, a pretty stock standard hero stuff there for Nighthaunt. Once again, 3 attacks in melee with a range of 2-inch, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s with -2 rend and damage 2 is pretty nice. Fly and ethereal, standard stuff for Nighthaunt. But the core ability here is at the end of the combat phase, if any enemy models were slain by attacks made with a melee weapon by a friendly Nighthaunt unit in that phase, you can pick up to 1 friendly Nighthaunt unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit. You can either heal up to 3 wounds allocated to that unit or that model, or heal 3 wounds worth of models to that unit, so you can bring back like 3 Chainrasps to a unit. And you can't have the same unit benefit from multiple Spirit Torment abilities in the same turn. Pretty cool sort of stuff. He's a nice little bit of extra healing. He's not overly expensive. The Spirit Torment will not set you back all that many points. He will just set you back 115 points. He's okay. Not too expensive. He's definitely cheaper than the Scriptor Mortis. And he probably does a little bit more for your army. And coming along with their Spirit Torment buddy, we have Chainrasps. You get 2 models for 75 points. Movement 8, 2 wounds apiece, 5 up save, bravery 10. Now, they have 2 different profiles. They've got a ranged and a melee attack. The ranged attack has a 15-inch range, and then you've got melee attacks with a 2-inch range. Both profiles have the same stats. D3 attacks, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s with a rend of 2 and a damage of 1. Fly and ethereal, like all things Nighthaunt, once again. And then their cool ability is you add 1 to the hit rolls for melee weapons made by Nighthaunt units wholly within 12 inches of this unit while there are any friendly Spirit Torments on the battlefield. So you put these near your Spirit Torments, you have them all sort of nice and huddled together and really just provide that nice area buff of some +1 to hit, a really solid ability. You know, not having to spend those points on all-out attack is going to be really useful. This can buff up a ton of different units to get them really starting to blend as we start looking into the other profiles of the other units available to us in the box set. Moving on to those said units, and we got the Bladeheists Revenants. For 190 points, you'll get 10 models. A movement of 8, wounds 1, bravery of 10, and a 4-up save is a pretty solid stat line. 4-up save with ethereal is just nice. Now they have 2 attacks in melee with a range of 1 inch, hitting and wounding on 3s with rend 1, damage 1. You've also got Fly and the Elite rule as well. Elite is a cool rule because this allows them to issue and commands to their own unit as if they had a champion, even though they don't, which is just really, really nice. This unit can retreat and charge, which is a super, super strong ability. Being able to sort of dictate where your unit's fighting at all times is just super important. And in addition, they get an extra attack whenever they charge, so you would never not be able to get that attack because you retreat out with your move, charge back into the same unit if you want to, and get 3 attacks. They can really go to town, like we said, putting them near those Chainrasps to be 2s and 3s, putting out a decent amount of damage, and they're pretty darn survivable as well. And our last unit in the box, the Myrmourn Banshees. Now, these have had a slight change from their old Warscroll. So, you get 4 models for 75 points, which is pretty nice. 4 up save, movement 8, 1 wound, bravery 10. It's pretty solid. For 75 points, I really like this unit a lot. 2 attacks in close combat, 1 inch range, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, and -2 rend, damage 2. Remembering, it's pretty easy to get that to 3s and 3s. Fly, ethereal, all the same stuff there for Nighthaunt. Now, this is where I really like it. If an enemy was to successfully cast a spell that is not unbound and picks a unit whole within 12 inch of this as a target that is a Nighthaunt unit, you can roll 2d6 before the spell's effects are applied. And add 1 to the roll if the unit has 3 or more models in the unit as well. If the roll is greater than the casting value of the spell, it's unbound and its effects are not applied. Which is pretty cool. This is nice because you're actually going on the casting value, not the casting roll. So it doesn't matter if your opponent rolls a 15, you are going to get this on the 5 that the casting value of the spell is. I really like this. They don't get to generate any extra attacks anymore, but they're not straight up trying to dispel. They are going to be competing with spell-heavy armies in this. I think they're a really solid unit, in all honesty. And in addition, you can do the same thing if an endless spell comes within 6 inch of the unit as well. But that is all the Daughters of Khaine and Nighthaunt units that we've seen in the box set. What are your thoughts on what we've seen so far? What do you want to see in the Battle Tome? Are you happy with these? Are you not happy with these? Let us know down in the comments below. Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, drop us a comment down below and let us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine little community here at Cinderful Gaming, you can do so by joining our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the channel and get your name up on the screen like all these fantastic people do, you can do so by supporting us either on Patreon or YouTube members. As a special thanks to all our Patreon and YouTube members, we'd love to give them a shout out. So a shout out to our Patreons, Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, and Dynet226. And a shout out to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Vinny, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Shelf, Adriana Edwards, and Sean Scott. A special thanks as well to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for our channel, and to Xmorphic, who does all the amazing background work for our channel's Discord server as well. Thank you all for watching. Once again, everyone, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.